Alright class, so for our final lesson about the Australian government, we're going to talk about something that is tied to government entirely. It's money. Something everybody wants. You can never have enough of it. Now, in the past, money was on what they called the gold standard, which meant that for every $1 I had, I could take that to any bank and I could turn that $1 into $1 worth of gold. There was actual gold backing up the dollar 1-to-1. But now we operate on what's called a fiat or a faith currency, meaning that when I go to the store and I buy something and I pull out a $20 bill, I'm not saying that that money's worth $20. The United States government says that money's worth $20, and that when I give this to you, they promise that this bill is worth $20 today, $20 tomorrow, $20 next week. Now, the thing is, there is such a thing as inflation, which makes the money be worth less. Like, for example, back in the 70s, you'd take in work and the minimum wage was like $1 something, depending on what year you're looking at. I know my dad tells me a lot of times about working 40 hours and coming home with $40. Or, and even when he had a good paying job back at that time, it was only making like $2 or something an hour. So, it was a lot different times, because nowadays the minimum wage is like $7. And that's because the dollar can't buy what it used to buy. So what I want you to do is, as I'm recording this video right now, the US dollar is worth 1.5 Australian dollars. So I want you to look up the worth of the Australian dollar when you're doing this lesson, and has it changed? Has it, in just this short couple of days, gone from 1 US dollar being worth 1.5 Australian dollars to be, is it worth more? Is it worth less? Why did it change? So I'm going to have a video talking about currencies and why they're worth what they are versus other countries and why they change. And then we're going to kind of get down to the more interesting part of most people, because one of the coolest things about seeing another country's money is seeing all the different kind of coins and dollars they have. So I want you to look at this article from Australia.com, it's their government, and basically I want you to take and look at the kind of dollar bills they have, what different denominations they have. Like in America we have 1, 5, 10, 20, and so on. What kind of bills do they have, and what kind of coins do they have? Because like Canada has a $1 coin and a $2 coin. America does have a $1 coin. It's not very common. Mostly you see pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters, but we do have other coins. So look at this website page, and look what kind of dollar bills they have, and what kind of coins they have, and why do you think that might be different? And finally, what I want you to think about is something that can be a little scary, because money's worth changes, like we've been talking about. So what I want you to think about is, how would people feel if suddenly their money was worth a whole lot less? Like, for example, you have $10, and with that $10 you can go to the convenience store or Walmart or wherever, and you can come out with a drink, some chips, your Takis, I know you love them, some candy and all kinds of stuff. What if you went to the convenience store and it was $10 for a 20-ounce soda? How would you feel? I mean, what is that? What kind of stuff would that make you think? Like, oh my goodness, I have $10, and yesterday I could go buy a bunch of stuff with it, but today I can barely buy a Coca-Cola. All right, so how would that people, what kind of feelings would that make people feel? How would you feel about the leader? I mean, you got to think about it, the president, who's in charge. What if all of a sudden during the president, everybody's got their feelings about, our current president now, but how would you still be worrying about that same stuff if tomorrow $10 was worth what $1 is worth now, or less? How's that going to make people feel about the leadership? How's that going to make people feel about the government itself? All right, everybody. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing from your responses, and I will see you again next week.